Welcome back to Salt Talks, everyone. My name is Jason Zins. I'm a partner at SkyBridge Capital, here today for another episode. As most of you know, Salt Talks is a series of digital interviews with the world's foremost investors, creators, and thinkers. Just as we do at our global Salt events, we aim to empower big, important ideas and provide our audience a window into the minds of subject matter experts. We're coming off a very successful Salt New York event. Thank you for everyone that attended. And we're looking forward to Salt Singapore in November. But today we're very excited to have with us Jamie Thomson, founder and CEO of Vulcan Forged, which is a leading blockchain game studio and metaverse company, which we at SkyBridge just invested in, leading their Series A round. So I'm going to turn it over to Anthony and we'll dive into some questions and I'll see you guys at the end.
So Jamie, welcome to the SkyBridge community, the SkyBridge fan base. And obviously, we're very excited to be an investor of yours. Before we go into Vulcan Forge, though, I'd like you to tell the Salt audience, the Salt Talk audience, a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up? How did you get involved with this? Why did you take artificial intelligence in school?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It's a strange one. Yeah. Well, 41, live in Greece. I'm obviously from the UK, as you know from my accent. My daughter's half Greek, and so her mum's Greek. So that's why we're in Greece now, and the office is here. I actually grew up from, even though I did artificial intelligence and computing at university, I actually moved into teaching straight after. And I think I got my first taste of, I say, crypto and NFTs way before OpenSea was around. And I kind of saw the potential in what could happen there with the ownership long before that was about. So, but yeah, I was a teacher mainly from 20s and 30s. And then I moved into sort of technology and crypto into the late 30s.
Okay, so for that odyssey, you're seeing something in the NFT space. You now want to be a part of it. So take us from teaching into creating Vulcan Forged.
Yeah, well, obviously I was teaching computing, so I had a big sort of foothold in what the technology was evolving and what was going on. I saw everything moving into sort of the web space as opposed to the back end coding of things, and so I started making websites for as a side gig, and got into sort of crypto trading like everyone does. Well, not everyone, but I certainly did. And then I thought, well, look, I mean, how popular would it be sort of turning art into sort of an NFT, sort of making it so something someone would buy? Because I was there with the crypto kitties and like the crypto punks were on some of the first NFTs around. So I sort of whipped up a website, called it Very Arty, which I thought was quite clever at the time, like verification of art, Very Arty. And I launched it, and it was a total flop. I mean, no one really understood what an NFT was, and it was just like, well, why is someone going to buy something like that? If it's unique. And I was trying to explain the concept of NFTs to anyone that would listen years and years ago, but no one got it. And then all of a sudden, oh look, everyone wants to do an NFT. So yeah, I guess it was just a side project that moved into a passion.
I mean, it's an amazing story, but you've also created an amazing universe. Okay, so behind you, I believe, is Vulcan City. And this is after the Greek god Vulcan, who is the god of forging. So tell us about how all of this intertwined with each other and how you launched the project. And what year did you launch the project, Jane?
Well, first of all, your Greek mythology is spot on. Well done for noting that. I mean, I think actually Vulcan is, I think, the Roman version of the Greek god Hephaestus, but Hephaestus Forged doesn't really have the same ring to it as Vulcan Forged does it. And everyone was using the word minting for NFT. So we like the idea of forging an NFT, and then the word Vulcan came about, and it just sounded like a cool name, and it stuck. So yeah, I mean, VulcanVerse was created probably about 4 years ago. Was the first alpha, and again, this was before Decentraland and Sandbox were about, and it was in a much worse shape than it is now. It was literally sort of Minecraft-y, pixelated stuff, and the idea of selling land, again, no one understood what was going on about with the NFTs. They certainly weren't going to buy any digital land. So I think we sold the land for about $60 a plot. And, now they just go for stupid money. I mean, because no one understood the concept of like owning digital land in the metaverse. So that gave us a really bit of a head start, I suppose, when the whole sort of metaverse trend came out, because we were kind of ahead of the curve there a little bit. So we already had like the gameplay side of being initiated, and we had a bit more creativity, and we had a bit more of a community than other sort of metaverses came. So we were really well positioned on that whole sort of metaverse wave when it came about last year.
You're 41. You said this is a young person's game. Obviously, you're a young person relative to me. Tell us about the staff at Vulcan Forge, okay, and tell us about what you're thinking about in terms of growing the universe.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we probably typify the idea of a bootstrap startup company that got pretty too big too quickly. Like, I mean, we grew from like 3 or 4 staff, myself and a couple of people, and now we've got like 115, 120 staff all over the world, mainly based in Greece, but we're sort of offices in Ukraine and UK and some various outsourced places. So the whole thing was a very much a massive learning curve. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I haven't been a CEO of such a big company, and I always say, you've got to know your weaknesses as much as your strengths. And I think that's why the timing of SkyBridge getting involved was so perfect for us, because it was like, okay, we accept the fact that we've grown to this stage. I'm not, the Blizzard CEO. I'm not, I know what my limits are, and it's time to kind of expand and do things properly. Like the whole idea of project management and streamlining and what do they call it, Jira and all this sort of stuff was new to me. I mean, I've never done any of this. It was just like, okay, here's a business, let's just hire and see what happens. And then now we're kind of consolidating all that and thinking, okay, let's take things to the next level from a human resources point of view. But yeah, there's 130 of us working all together on about 12 to 15 products, and we're continually evolving.
So let's say I just came in from Mars. I got out of my flying saucer and I walked into your office. I said, Jamie, what is the metaverse? And why should I be so excited about this? And how did Vulcan Forge become a top 10 metaverse inside the scheme of metaverse? And so tell me about that. So first off, what is the metaverse?
Yeah, well, a lot of people use the word metaverse very loosely. I mean, I think it was coined from a book called Snow Crash or something.
Yes. Neil Stephenson's book Snow Crash. He's the first person to coin the word metaverse. At least as far as we know. Yep. Yes,
that's it. It was Snow Crash, and it just meant futuristic world, which is such a loose definition. And I mean, you could say that, Facebook or Twitter or even Second Life, which was probably the real first metaverse, because Second Life was a place you could literally have a second life. And I think they even used Bitcoin back in that as well. So I'd say that was one of the first metaverses. So you've got that side of the metaverse, just a virtual world, a futuristic world. And then you've got the Zuckerberg side of it, where it's all VR headsets and holograms and just trying to use the new technology, which has been around for a while already. So I don't know why it's suddenly sort of come to light now. And then you've got the blockchain area of it, the blockchain gaming, where it seems anything with an NFT in it or a game which is on blockchain happens to be coined to metaverse. So I don't think anyone actually knows what the real version of a metaverse is. For me, the journey that I've made through this whole sort of play to earn fad and blockchain gaming, I think the best way to define a metaverse would be an economy within a virtual world. I mean, because blockchain facilitates that ability to have, currency, a monetary value, asset scarcity. And now if you could put that within a virtual world, in our case, a Greco-Roman fantasy one or any other world, then that's when things get really interesting, because you're taking Second Life and you're making it into something which actually affects your life. I mean, how you sort of participate in this game or this world, this virtual world, can actually affect you in the real world. So that's how I would define metaverse. But again, I think it's just a lot of new technology and such.
So our research team, we're obviously, as we've teamed up with FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. They own 30% of our business. Our research team, John Sfoulos, Jason, who's on the call with us, looking at various projects. When we identified your project, we said, okay, this has all the base ingredients to grow into this explosively successful metaverse project. No reason why you can't be in the top 1, 2, or 3. But there was something else about this project that attracted us to it, and that's you. I grew up in a blue collar neighborhood. Okay. You're a very straight shooting guy. You told us every good, bad, and ugly thing about your business, and it made me tremendously confident in what it is that you're doing. So I want you to tell our Salt Talk listeners and our followers, what is your vision over the next 3 to 5 years for Vulcan Forged?
Absolutely. Well, it's very kind of you. Thank you for that. I think without doubt, you're not going to succeed in this industry, or maybe a lot of technology industries, if you don't evolve and adapt. And we rode the play to earn wave last year, and I think it's time to say, okay, that whole play to earn idea isn't sustainable. It's a fad. I mean, you look at the numbers of these play to earn games compared to the big gaming companies, and they're just completely different. I mean, Blizzard, World of Warcraft, Minecraft, they're pulling in billions, of users of gaming industry. Whereas, Axie was like 250,000 people and everyone went crazy. This is the future. It's not. I mean, the idea of bribing people to play your game and paying them to play, number one, it's off. You're not going to compete with a bigger market. And I think we're willing to accept and look at our weaknesses and flaws and say, look, the play to earn model isn't going to work. What will work will be using the benefits of blockchain in a gaming environment, in a creative environment, immutability, saving land to the blockchain and selling it as an NFT. And that's where our big product MetaScapes, I'd be sure if I wouldn't be here, that is going to be a real competitor to the likes of Minecraft. I mean, to put it loosely, it's a better Minecraft on blockchain, where you can sort of design your own land and store it on the chain, and all the plots and save, you can swap and change it around. But we're always adapting, we're always evolving. And that's why I think we'll always be relevant. This bear market has been a blessing for us. I mean, it's been a time for us to restructure, reorganize, work out where we went wrong, and focus on the next stage.
You have a very strong follower base / community. Tell us about the marketing efforts that are going to be made going forward to grow that community.
Sure, yeah. I think one of the main reasons we have got that community is that we were all very honest up front to start with. We developed around them. We put out, buggy games, broken games. We listened to the feedback. And I think in crypto world especially, people aren't used to that level of transparency. I think people want to see, even if it's not a good product, they want to see you building and making and listening to feedback and doing it. And I think that's one of the reasons that 90% of our first ICO investors are still with us now. And then we've got a really, really solid community. That's why I think we are now. Now, regarding marketing, that's something which I don't know. It plagues me every day, because we're not at the stage where our games are so perfect. We want to start, plugging it all over Facebook and social media and wherever. But at the same time, we know we're lacking in that department. We have got one of the ex-EA Sports CMOs coming in to work as a C-level for us. And again, this is the start of the restructuring. And we know through SkyBridge and the connections that you have that we can start hiring the right people for the right jobs. I was running the Twitter account for like two and a half years. So I'm doing the marketing, the Telegram, modding, everything like that. And you can't be so arrogant to think that you can do everything yourself. So yeah, I mean, we are going to bring some new C-levels in. Some are yet to be announced. A lot of them are going to be based in New York, and we've got a chance to do things right now.
Talk about we're going to bring Jason in a second, but talk about MetaScapes. What is MetaScapes, and why is that going to be a big growth area for you?
Well, the thing is, VulcanVerse, which is behind me, is totally packed. I mean, there's no more room. There's 10,000 plots. People have got it. They're building, and that's it. And it was the building engine that we've made in VulcanVerse, which is without doubts. There isn't something that competes with our building engine. You can terramorph trees and grass and water, and it's really quite technical. But it's pigeonholed into this fantasy of like Greco-Roman mythology. So you either play VulcanVerse and build, or you don't. So what we've done now is taken that building engine, and we're going to make it universal. So you can build in different themes, where it's modern, a New York cosmopolitan building, or futuristic, or more sort of chibi anime look, or fantasy look. And anyone can build a plot of land. So it basically means, instead of being limited to 10,000 plots in VulcanVerse or in any metaverse, anyone can make a plot. Like anyone in the world can make a plot, get a plot for free, and they can sort of just build on it and share it, and they can sell it as an NFT. So it's basically sort of just making our engine open source to the whole world. So you look how popular Minecraft is, I said like 500 million users because they like showing things off. Now up the graphics, make it immutable, allow people to sell these creations. And you've got, what I think is one of the most exciting products we're creating.
Yeah, listen, it's amazing. So all of that stuff will cause a gravitation in PYR, the Vulcan Forged token. But tell us why.
Well, you need to pay to, everyone gets a free plot, but if you want access to the new assets, the new levels, the new feature, you want to create a game on your plot, you want to make your land look better, you've got to pay for it because you're making your land an NFT, which is going to have more value. We've got a direct fiat on-ramp with Binance, so you can use your credit card. It buys PYR on the back end. So, I don't know if I can say numbers. Let's say you've got 10 million players that want to pay $10 to get a new asset. That's $100 million in PYR that's just been bought in one go. So, it's exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah. To say, and the good news for all of us, you're just getting started on the marketing, and obviously SkyBridge is going to help you with that, and we're excited to be a part of it. One last question, then I'm going to turn it over to Jason Zins. Elysium, tell us about Elysium. And by the way, you've obviously led a lot of Greek mythology, okay? Because I see myself after my death, Jamie, in the Elysium fields. Okay, so what are the Elysium fields, and what is Elysium?
Well, the Elysium fields are the heaven of gods, actually. So that was a humble statement. But if you see yourself,
as I'm holding up my candy corn cup, you see that? That's how I'm going to be drinking out of a candy corn cup in the Elysium fields, Jamie. Okay. So tell us about Elysium, which is a phenomenal name for those of us that study Greek mythology.
Yeah. It means it was the heaven of the Olympians. So it's where they went when they died, and it just fit in with the whole Vulcan Forged mythology. I mean, it's a layer one. It's a substrate EVM compatible chain. It's a proof of authority, meaning there's 51 nodes. If you hold a certain amount of PYR, you get returns on every transaction. But one of the biggest selling points is, and this is why we called it Elysium, is because we've got these acres of land in Spain and in Greece where we're planting trees. So I think we've planted 5,000 trees so far. So the more the blockchain is used, the gas which powers it is allocated. 10% of that is allocated to an ecological fund. And we've literally got videos of us taking out these seeds and planting these trees as it goes. So the idea is the more Elysium's used, the more trees are grown. So it's not only carbon neutral, it's carbon negative, carbon positive, probably carbon negative, I'd say.
I love it. Okay, Jason Zins, it's your turn. Okay, I'm sorry that I'm dominating the conversation. Okay, but I wanted to tease out all this Greek mythology from this man.
You know the Greek mythology much better than I do, as you do with many topics. So I appreciate you setting it up there.
You see, he's kissing my ass a little bit, Jamie, because bonuses are coming. Okay, you see, we're almost into the fourth quarter. See that? You caught that, right? All right, it was a little obsequious, but we're going to let it slide. Go ahead, Zins.
Transparent. Go ahead. Your office is beautiful, by the way, as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I had to tell you to clean the goddamn thing up before the salt talk started. Unbelievable. All right, go ahead, Zins.
So Jamie, I want to pick up where Anthony left off with Elysium, because I think that's going to become an important part of the project, which you guys have been working on while the public view has really been focused on the game. So, and it's one area that's attracted us as well. As you mentioned, it's sort of carbon neutral or a net positive on the ESG side. Talk about some of the activity there, the current status of the blockchain, any projects or brands that are coming on board.
Sure. Yeah. I think what should I say? The tree planting initiative really caught the eyes of a lot of big names. And okay, the speed is great. There's nothing massively revolutionary about the sort of technology behind it. I mean, the fact we've made it a proof of authority consensus is really quite cool. I mean, it allows you a lot more speed. But with 55 projects migrating over there. Some are coming from Solana, some are coming from ETH. They're all coming there. I mean, it's not just because we're planting trees, but it's because we offer really sort of bespoke support. It's very personable. Heavy Metal magazine, the fantasy magazine is going there. DKNY, the fashion brand, launching an NFT collection there. It's hard to know what the selling point or why they've migrated there. I say it's a combination of how approachable we are as a company, and people want to come to Elysium. We're literally like, hey, come on there. We're not charge you anything. We can help you. And two, let's be honest. I mean, planting trees it's a good selling point for any company or brand.
Absolutely. And let's move back to the game side, which is obviously how you started Vulcan Forged. And I think as we've touched on throughout this conversation, one of the unique aspects of you and Vulcan Forged is the bootstrap nature of it, right? You hadn't raised any venture money up until our recent investment. So you bootstrapped the games, you also bootstrapped the community, and all of that happened at the same time, which I think is pretty unique as opposed to a lot of the other players in the space that'll raise a couple $100 million, spend 4 or 5 years building out a game and hope it works. And not saying that's a bad model. You guys have just taken a different approach. So speak to the interaction with your community and how important that is.
Yeah, I mean, we actually raised only $700,000 really in the land sale. And before we even got to the land sale, I spent all my own personal funds of making like an alpha engine to show that it's actually a real project, because no one believed the idea of buying digital land at that time. So it was a real hard selling point. So I had to prove that it actually worked. And then, so I guess we had a few believers then, I guess 20 to 30 people who actually saw, oh, hang on, this actually could be something. And they sort of, I always think that energy kind of goes from the top down. If you're honest and keep some good energy there and transparent and admit your flaws and mistakes, then the other community members will pass it on to the others. And it's just been the way it's been for the last 3 years. Someone comes to community, everyone welcomes them. We haven't got time for all these silly gifts and moon things and all that kind of stuff. And there's no bots. It's just people that just want to see something cool being made and like something revolutionary. And it's I've been in a lot of crypto communities, but I really think our community is one of the strongest out there. And every Monday and Friday, we tell them what we're going to do. We tell them what we have done. I hold AMAs every 2 weeks. They've got direct access to all our staff. And I think it's very important to keep those bridges open and up.
You just did an AMA today, actually, and the topic was essentially, what are we doing wrong? Which I thought was a great approach. But it was telling that the community there was no attacks, there was no personal nature to it. Everyone was trying to make the product better.
Right.
And I think that community aspect is really key to all of Web3 and blockchain. And you guys certainly seem to have that powerful community. Let's talk a little bit more about the games. I think you're up to 12 right now, VulcanVerse being the early and perhaps one of the biggest ones. Touch a little bit on a little further on the actual games that you have.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we've got, VulcanVerse, you say it's like an MMO/sandbox. We've got Berserk, which is like a sort of Hearthstone-y game. We've got mobile tower defense, Vulcan Assassin, Forge Arena, Block Babies. I think we've covered every device and sort of niche we can. And while that sounds good on paper, I think in practicalities, it was, just trying to do too much too soon. And that's why this year is the year of consolidation for us. We've got these 12 games, which could all be absolutely brilliant. But if we keep making just new games and new alphas, will just be that company that keeps starting things and never finishes them. So these 12 games, we are focusing now on just really turning into like quality, AAA games, as opposed to just like a rushed out game for the sake of saying you've got a game. And I think the mobile market, is something we really want to tap into next year. I mean, it's enormous. I mean, you look at Candy Crush, and you look at some of these games that turn over billions. And if you look at why they turn over billions, it's pay to play. It's not play to earn. People don't mind paying to play games. And I think we have to let go of this idea that play to earn is going to somehow conquer these pay to play games. So we are adding a lot of those sort of pay to play functions in all our games, obviously with PIR.
James, when do you expect that to come out, the mobile stuff?
They're already out. You can play them now. Yeah, you can play Tower Defense now, Vulcan Assassin now, Forge Arena. I mean, there's room for improvement, but they're out. And we haven't implemented the payment stuff yet. That's when things will get really interesting because,
When will the payment stuff be implemented?
I think once we got all the NFTs onto Elysium, and we're doing that now. So today we minted another few hundred onto Elysium. I think we've got about 80,000 more NFTs to put onto Elysium, and then we're ready to go. So soon, DM.
I love it.
So we've mentioned the play to earn concept. I think this is also a refreshing piece about you, that you were involved in play to earn, but you've now come out against it, if you will, which is fairly unique. Talk a little bit more about it, the lessons that you learned. It's not as though you're completely throwing it away, but you're evolving the play to earn model.
Yeah, evolving it. I mean, as I always say in these talks, you can catch some of my talks on YouTube with the Binance Week recently. I talked about it in depth. Is that there's a very different mindset when you start allowing people to earn money in any game. If people are paying a game to play, they're going there for fun. They're not expecting anything but a fun game. If you tell people they can start earning money in this game, then everything else goes out the window. They don't care about the graphics, the gameplay. It's just like, how can I, farm the most out of this game? And that's why blockchain gaming has got away with such, I say, low quality games to date, because they're not in it for the gameplay. They're in it to sort of earn money. So that's an obvious mindset and a philosophy that I haven't liked. I mean, when we put play to earn in some of our games, the energy of the community changed a lot. It didn't become enjoyable anymore. You were just constantly tracking exploits and hacks, and it wasn't fun. And then on a practical level, look at the statistics and the numbers. I mean, it's a multi-billion market, gaming. People are going to be paying to play for fun for years to come. You can't suddenly think that like Axie Infinity is going to come out, or a play to earn game is going to knock World of Warcraft off the top spot or beat Call of Duty. So yeah, it was this kind of revelation that you can't marry the two. It's either going to be play for fun or play to earn. So what we're trying to do is, we allow both. So the model we're using is, you have a choice when you go into a game. For example, tower defense. You can either play normally, it's just like a tower defense game. You buy things, you keep buying extra lives. That of course buys PYR on the back end, so that's a nice buying pressure. Or you do the play to earn thing, but instead of just farming the secondary token, it's a circular economy where you have to sort of pay to in order to get access to this sort of pool of secondary tokens, and there's use cases for it. You know what I mean? So our secondary token is Lava. The Lava powers our blockchain, so there'll always be a use case for our play to earn token. So the value of it will ideally always be steady. There's no value or utility for this token, then it's going to, there'll be no demand for it. So yeah, making it a circular economy, giving incentives for people to reinvest the money they earn in the games, adding caps, so like you have to play for a certain amount of time before you can earn money. There are ways to kind of minimize the negatives of play to earn, but yeah, getting the mix right is important.
I think that was a key focus for us. We've been following the gaming and metaverse space for a while, and I think we had concerns on the play to earn model. So it's good to see you, and to be fair, others are evolving as well beyond that space. And I think at a macro level, that's why we're so excited about blockchain gaming. Is, to your point, gaming industry is huge, both as measured by revenues, but also users. And so if we as an industry in the Web3 and blockchain space can get gaming right, it should be the next wave to onboard millions and millions of users into the Web3 space. And I think we're all very excited about that. We have a couple of minutes left here. I want to spend a little more time on MetaScapes, which is obviously a very exciting project. When can we expect more information on that? And I know you've discussed this point in the past. I don't know if we touched on it on this talk, but you really view it as a metaverse-as-a-service, right? As opposed to your own metaverse that others can come play in. So talk a little bit about that and any timeline for MetaScapes.
Yeah, that's a good description of it. Yeah, metaverse-as-a-service, or MaaS, I suppose we can call it. Yeah, seeing we've got the technology here, we've built it with VulcanVerse, and we outsource our services to other metaverses. I won't name names, but there are companies out there which have got a metaverse, and we made it for them under an NDA, and they pay us money, we make it for them. So we've got the technology down. So opening that up to anyone to use, to sort of make their own map, their own plots, their own assets, and sort of do what they want with it. I think this is going to be the real test to see, okay, is blockchain and creativity and gaming really gonna live up to the hype or the potential it can have? So yeah, metaverse-as-a-service is where we're going with, and we are launching at GITEX in Dubai on the October the 12th. October, yeah, that's next month. We'll be showing the first sort of peeks of it, the trailers, and what you can do. And people can start playing around with it in alpha in December, latest.
Very exciting. I think we've seen a couple of the early trailers, and so far the graphics and the images look incredible. Let's just talk about, finish up the bear market that we're in. Obviously,
I want to interrupt for a second, okay? Because I need VulcanVerse swag, okay? And so depending on like, I need medium for t-shirts and, shirts like this, but I need like medium for sweatshirts, possible large.
Loads.
I have to see it.
We've got loads. We've got anything you want. T-shirts, caps. We've got a bunch.
Yeah, I need some stuff, right? So this way I can pony around town with my VulcanVerse stuff. People are like, what the hell is he doing now? You know what I mean? I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
the Vulcan Forged logo.
Come on, man. I need some of that stuff. Okay.
As we've started to learn at Salt and elsewhere, Anthony is slowly starting to ditch the suit and embrace the crypto uniform.
All right, yeah.
As made fashionable by SBF.
Dude, you're gonna make. Let me tell you something. I am sending some Vulcan Forged swag to Sam Bankman-Fried. Okay. All right. All right. So that, let's go with medium. Okay. And we'll send him a batch of stuff. All right. Get him to wear some of that stuff for you.
I'll get it sent over.
Jason, I'm sorry, but look, what you need to know is that you're now part of the SkyBridge ecosystem, and we're part of the FTX ecosystem. You're going to be with us in Singapore. You're going to be with us at Crypto Bahamas. And we are going to be introducing you to a whole waterfront of people to help you grow your community, to get people to understand the quality person that you are, but also the great technology that you're working with. My friend Amy Wu, that's running FTX Ventures, when I told her about this, she not only said congratulations, but she was like, this is super hot space right now. And so you're the right guy at the right time in the right space, and we're thrilled to be a part of it with you. But I'm interrupting because I really want apparel. You follow what I'm saying? And by the way, as you guys know, sweatshirts are a lot cheaper than Brioni. What else you want to say, Jace?
It's hard to follow that. I think it's a good place to end. So I'll just tie that into what my question was. We're in a bear market now, but in many ways, that's a good thing as you're looking to really focus on building the business, restructure the operation, come out with new products. So just talk about that and where you think this exciting project is headed in the next 1, 2, 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I say, the bear market, I mean, it has been good okay, we know the community sentiment's up and down, but we're lucky to have a community that, they care about the games, Yes, obviously we have some channels, they look at the price and all that kind of stuff. But for us, it's been a chance to kind of keep our heads down and really, really work. I mean, in the bull market, everyone's expecting everything now, the next day, a new announcement. And I think we last year in the bull market there, that was one of the main reasons we rushed some things, because people wanted a new release here, wanted a new release here. Here, everyone's just like, okay, nothing we can do about the market, And a lot of companies keep their head down and do nothing, but we've kept our head down and we've done nothing but expand and build. So when the bull market does come back around, we're incredibly positioned at the forefront of it all. I mean, I know a lot of metaverse projects that were double, triple our market cap last year, and they're dead now. They've gone. They've tucked tail and run. Not a true warrior, Spartan, I should say.
Well, I think that is some great messaging there, and I would tell you this from my life experience. This is my 9th bear market. They absolutely suck. I mean, who's kidding who? But just grinding through them and getting to the other side, you'll learn so much about yourself and so much about your business, and you got to stay resilient. These are all the qualities that we love in you, which is why we wanted to make this investment. But my message to you and the Vulcan Forged community, though, is that we are now in it together, and we're going to be working alongside of you to help you find some of the best programmers, the best marketing people. We're going to help you in your foray here into North America, into the U.S. market, as well as Canada. And we're just super excited to be with you.
Right. Music to my ears. Yeah. And I really appreciate it. People can already see that you guys are not only invested financially, but, emotionally. I appreciate the tweets, the support, the coverage. It really is good.
All right. Now I put out a picture of us on Twitter, which was very flattering to me, but the two of you look like dog shit in the picture. Okay. I just want to make sure you know that. So I'm expecting you, Jamie, to retweet it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I just said, I think your eyes are closed and Zin's looked like he just rolled out of bed, but I'm smiling. So,
you couldn't have taken a few more and give us.
Let me take one more. We'll fire out one more. Okay. Let's get.
I see it.
Before we end this podcast, here we go.
As long as you look good.
All right. That's the see, he's really playing. He's really playing for the bonus money right now, James. All right. All right. Well, congratulations on everything you're doing. We'll be back in touch. We'd like to do this with you on a quarterly basis if you're cool with that. And we're looking forward to seeing you in Singapore, where we've got a huge delegation coming with us at the Marina Bay Sands Hotel, November 14th to the 16th. And so you can sign up for that. You can sign up for that at salt.org. Just look for the registration there if anybody has an interest in doing that. And Jamie Thomson, the CEO and founder of Vulcan Forged, thank you. And Jason Zins, who's sitting in my office, expecting someday to take over that office. And frankly, you deserve to, Jason. So I'm looking forward to that day as well.
Thanks,
Anything
Anthony.
else you guys want to say?
Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Appreciate you. Thanks very much, guys.
God bless.